بره فنان.
ఏంది డాడీ లేపే
అవునా?
వాడే కింద కూర్చుంటాడురా నీ
Hello students,
వాడు కూడా కొడుతున్నాడులే బావ
can you hear me? Hello. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
We'll start the class. Shall we have the introduction part? Can you introduce yourself? Can you answer your attendance? I think we have 43 students. Students, shall we start the class? Shall we have the introduction? Shall we discuss the syllabus? Kritika Jain, can you hear me? Are you able to see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Shall we have the introduction? So, course is software engineering and testing. Course code is 18CS4. So, it is a course subject for you. Here we will study the various aspects of software engineering. Okay, first we will study about what is software, what is software engineering, then what is the difference between normal engineering process and software engineering process. Then we will discuss about what is object orientation. Then how the object oriented software engineering can be implemented. What is the difference between ordinary software engineering and object oriented software engineering, and what are the advantages we will get based on object oriented software engineering. So like that the related concepts will be discussed. So this is an can you all hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So our subject is an 3-credit course. So it means we will be having 3 theory hours, lecture hours will be 3, and tutorial hours will be 0, and the practical hours will be 0. So it is a 3-credit subject, 300. So number of how many units or modules we have in our subject is we have 5 modules, and we need 60 sessions to complete our syllabus. And once the college reopens, so these are my details. I will be in the set FET block, room number, staff number 324, cabin number 8. So I will be in my office from 8:30 to around 4:30. And other than I will go to the class and I will come back to the department, or I will be in my staff room only. So anytime if you have any doubt, you can reach me in my office. And I belongs to computer science and engineering department. I am placed as professor in computer science and engineering department. Are you able to follow me? Shall we continue? Anybody can
Yes,
answer
ma'am.
me? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. You like to know about me? Shall I give my introduction? Who am I? Or you already know me? Hello. So I recently joined in our university during the month of January. And previously I worked as a principal and professor of engineering college. And last 1 year. Before that, I worked in King Khalid University, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, for 5 years. From 2013 to 2018, I worked as an associate professor in King Khalid University, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. It's located near Mecca. So you will be knowing Mecca, Medina. Na? So around 80 kilometers from Mecca, Holy Mecca. And it is an hill station called Abba. The climate throughout the Saudi Arabia, the climate will be around 40 degrees Celsius. But where our college located is in hill station. It's above 6,000 kilometers above the sea level. So it will be always in the climate of around 18 or 19 degrees Celsius. So throughout Saudi Arabia, Abba is they used to call Kashmir of Saudi Arabia, all Gulf countries. So it is a tourist place. So all the GCC countries like Yemen, Oman, Dubai, say the Egypt, Sudan, this side Muscat, all people used to come during the winter season, summer season to Abba. So before that, I worked in VIT Vellore for around 3.5 years, from 2011 to 2013. Before that, I worked around 12 years in SES VMG University, deemed university. It comes under Sri Kanji Kamakodi Peedam Charitable Trust. So I have around 20 years of teaching experience and 2-3 years of administrative experience as a principal of an engineering college. So I did my BE Computer Science and Engineering from Madras University. Then I did my MS Software Systems from Birla Institute of Science and Technology, BITS, Pilani, Rajasthan. I did ME Computer Science also from Mana University, Chennai. So then I did a PhD in Computer Science and Engineering. During 2010, 2009, I submitted my thesis. I awarded during 2010. And I did a MBA in operations research as well as MPhil in computer science, as well as I did some PG diploma course, PG diploma in personal management and industrial relations. So I did some management degrees also. So I have already taken this subject software engineering more than 5 to 10 times from different universities. Even I took the same subject as software project management in King Khalid University 3-4 times. I was course coordinator there for this particular course, and I did I taken the subject software engineering and project, final year project for in SCSBM University, as well as I took the same subject for MTech students, advanced software engineering for MTech students. So if you enter into it's about my profile. So if you take our course, course is software engineering and testing. It is a core course. Subject code is 18CS 54. It's a 3-credit course. So if you take just to give an idea about what is software engineering, what are the elements are there, and why we need to study the subject. After studying this subject, what are the things we will come to know? All those things we are going to study. We will discuss in the today's class, like a bridge course. So in today's presentation, we are going to discuss about introduction part of software engineering and learning objectives. We will call it as course objectives. Then we will discuss the syllabus. Then learning outcomes, that is after studying this course, what are the things you will come to know, or course outcomes. What you will be understanding, what are the things you will remember, how this course will be useful for you to do your project as well as other things. Then we will study the program outcomes, then program specific outcomes. We will study the course articulation matrix, COPO mapping, then target and assignment process. So these are the things we are going to discuss. Are you able to follow me? Are you able to understand what I'm telling? Is there any disturbance for you?
No, ma'am.
Am I able to? Are you able to understand what I'm telling?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. If you take the course, we have software engineering and testing. It is a course subject. We are studying this course during the 5th semester. And in this course, we have internal marks of 30 marks based on the internal assessment. And the max external exam, semester end exam, you will be having, you will be writing for 70 marks. And it is in 3-credit. Number of hours we need in each week will be 3 hours. We will be having this class. And the exam will be conducted 3 hours. So if you take the prerequisite and course objectives, so the prerequisite is, I think you already did so many programming languages like C programming, Java programming, Python programming. So you'll be knowing about the programming concepts. And you studied other computer science subjects like data structures, operating system, um, that is graphics. So the fundamental subjects, some fundamental concepts, logics in computer science also you already studied. So the basic knowledge of computer science and basic programming concepts and the logical sequences, what we are using in our programming, those things you need to, you should be known. So you can easily understand this subject. Moreover, this subject is full of theories, concepts, and or how to, while writing programs, what are the things we need to consider. So those kind of concepts we are going to study in software engineering. So if you take the course objective, to explain the importance of object-oriented software engineering in software development. I think so far you might have studied some programming languages and you did some programs. The programs will be maximum of 100 lines of code, or it may be some 120 lines of code, not more than that. You will be solving simple and small problems. But if you take software engineering, so actually the software engineering concepts are used in developing the projects. So you know the difference between programming and project. Programming means we will take some problem and we will try to solve a particular atomic problem using the programming. But if you take a project, you will be solving so many processes. You will be having so many, say for example, if you take the banking project or a ATM project, the particular project will have so many concepts: credit process, debit process, loan process, balance sheet, and interest calculation, fixed deposit, recurring deposit. So like that, providing home loans, educational loans, vehicle loans, like that, we will be having so many components if you take an banking project. So in that case, we will be using more than one language. We'll use some front end, back end. We need some design part, and the project should be more interactive and it should be user friendly one. So we need to focus on so many. We need to create some database. We need to update the database. That should be a core banking. So we need to implement so many concepts in a project. So while developing a project, you need to understand the software engineering concepts, rules and regulations, guidelines. Then only you can able to write a big project with more than 10,000 lines or 1 million lines of code. And that should be usable to any common man to educated person. And it should be used throughout the world. So the concepts and logic should be understandable to all the people, all the end users. So in that case, we need to create a universal project that should be understandable and that should be user friendly and usable by all the people, those who are going to access the project. In that case, we need to follow the software engineering guidelines, methods, methodologies, approaches, logic, and a common way of coding that should be followed. So those concepts we are going to study in our software development uh, using software engineering concepts. So the second objective is to explain the students the importance of requirements engineering. So while developing any project, first we need to collect the requirements of our project. So what are the software requirements, hardware requirements, what are the end user requirements, the domain experts opinions, testing requirements and reusable requirements. So like that, we'll be having functional requirements, non-functional requirements, and the rules and regulations of the government. All those things we need to consider and we need to collect for any particular project before starting the project. So those concepts, especially here, we will discuss about functional requirements and non-functional requirements of any software engineering project during the second course objective. The third concept is to explain the role of UML and testing in software development. Once the project is developed, we need to test the project so that we can check the project is ready to use and it can be easily accessible and it will provide the service to the end users without any issues. So that testing should be done before delivering the project to the end user for actual use. So the testing can be done through automated testing methods or manual testing methods, and we can make use of the UML, that is Unified Modeling Language. This concept also we are going to study in this subject. So it is a modeling language where we can design all the, we can visualize the project using the Unified
Hello,
Modeling
ma'am.
Language diagrams. Yes.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, are you showing any slides right now? Because we can't see any presentation. If you are
Not,
showing any slides.
okay. No. I think, are you able to see the PPT, what I have shared? My screen is showing you are sharing screen.
No, ma'am. We can't see any PPT right now.
Okay. I will stop and again, I will share once again.
Yes, ma'am. Sure. Thank you.
I just opened the PPT. It's showing me your screen sharing. Now, are you able to see the screen?
Yes, ma'am. Now it's okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So if you take the, we are discussing about the prerequisite and course objectives. So the prerequisite is you should be knowing about what is programming, what are the computer programming, what are the the programming fundamentals like the all character set, looping structures, statements, executable statements, database tables, and various data structure concepts. So the fundamental programming ideas, logics that you should be known. And while studying this subject, how this subject is framed and what are the course objectives means, to explain the importance of object-oriented software engineering in software development process. So it means how we are going to use the object-oriented software engineering methods, structures, and methodologies in developing the software. Because in this subject, we are going to study about the various software engineering methods, techniques, logics, rules and regulations, and testing methods. And the second course objective is to explain the students the importance of requirements engineering. So while doing any software project, we should collect the requirements of our project. What is the problem statement? How we are going to solve the problem? And what are the things we need to solve the problem? Say the hardware requirements. Hardware requirements means how many computers we need, and what are the accessories like mouse, keyboard, joystick, or any scanner, all the equipments, hardware requirements we need, and software requirements like various programming languages, databases, tables. So the various software components, front-end tools, back-end tools, hardware, audio, video requirements, all those things will come under functional requirements. And non-functional requirements means we need to consider other parameters like tangible and intangible requirements, the government rules and regulations, the guidelines, all those things, the company policies, all those things. So basically here we will study the functional requirements and non-functional requirements of software engineering. The third course objective is to explain the role of unified modeling language and testing methods in software development. So, because we are going to study object-oriented software engineering concepts. So, to design the software in object-oriented form, we can make use of the unified modeling language, that is rational rows, that will provide you all the diagrams and concepts so that we can easily understand the project. And we will study the testing methods, like it may be manual testing or automated testing. So if it is automated testing, we'll have unit testing, system testing, black box testing, white box testing, like that. We have so many testing methods that we will study. They're all theoretical aspects. Then we have some automated testing methods also. We can make use of the softwares to test our project. Tools we can make use to test the project. And the fourth course objective is to explain the entire software development process with the aid of case studies. So we will take the real-time scenarios or real-time projects or real-time problems. Say for example, how to develop a project for airline reservation ticket booking or cancellation process, or how to design an patient, say how to automate the hospital records using patient monitoring system or patient appointment system, or how to do the medical transcription, or how to automate the hospital domain using some software projects, or how to use encryption, decryption, security aspects, or we will take some case studies, real-time projects, and we will try to find out the problem in the particular case study, and we will create the diagrams for the particular case study, and we'll create the actual solution for the implementation for the project. Then we will go for the testing methods. So we will take some real-time projects as an example, and we'll try to solve the problem using the object-oriented software engineering techniques. So these are the four main course objectives of our course. So any doubt in the course objectives? Hello, can you be able to hear me? Are you able to see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, the next subheading is course. So our course objectives are four course objectives. And if you take the course outcomes means once you complete this course, what are the what are the things you understand? What are the things, say if you are doing an C programming course or Python programming course, once you complete the Python programming course, you will be well known about the various syntax, semantics, how to program, the various constraints. So everything you can able to do some new programs also once you complete the programming course. The same way, after you study this software engineering course, what are the things the students will be they can do by using the concepts what they studied. So the outcomes of this course are, we have six course outcomes. The first course outcome is understand the basic concept of object oriented software engineering and comprehend software development life cycle. So once you complete this course, you will be able to answer, or you can able to create object oriented software engineering projects, because you will be studying all the concepts related with object oriented OOSE, and you can able to you will be knowing what are the life cycle stages of any software. Say life cycle means how to start the project, what are the things we need to, because if the project is given for you for 6 months or 1 year time, first month what are the things we need to do, and the second month what are the things we need to do. Say how to start the project, how to collect the requirements, how to draw the diagrams. Say in basic programming languages we will be writing the aim, then we will be writing the algorithmic steps, then we will draw some flow chart or diagram. Say you may draw the flow chart or entity relationship diagram, or you may draw data flow diagrams or UML diagrams. Then based on the algorithm and flow chart, then you will be writing the actual program implementation. Then you will type the program in the system, compile and execute. Then we will give some input and we'll check for the output. Then we'll write the input output results. The same way, while doing a big project called software or project, In that case, it's also having some life cycle stages: initial stage, inception stage, analysis stage, development stage, implementation stage, then testing and evaluation stage. So the software is having its life cycle. Say like every human being is having, they will be initially infant, then they will become kid, then they will go to school going child, then they will go for job, then they get married, then they will be the father and mother, then they will reach the grandfather level. So like that, we have life cycle. No? So the same way, while developing any project also, we have some life cycle stages. So those are the concepts we are going to study in the course outcome 1. The second course outcome is analyze and specify software requirements. So whatever may be the problem given to you, you should be you can able to analyze the given problem and you can specify the needs of the project. Because in our course we are going to study the software requirements very broadly in the chapter 2 and 3. So here we will be studying functional requirements, non-functional requirements, various parameters, all those things. And the third course outcome is exhibit the knowledge in software project from requirement gathering to implementation. So what will be the third course outcome is you will be having the knowledge of software project and the requirements gathering techniques you will be known, and you know how based on the requirements and based on the algorithmic concepts you will be able to implement. You can able to write the program in any particular language. So that is our third outcome. So you can able to collect the requirements, then you can able to write the programming code for the given problem. So that is our third outcome. Fourth outcome is focus on the fundamentals of modeling in software project using UML. So you will be here we are studying all the modeling concepts. So use the modeling of classes, class diagrams, object diagrams, sequence diagrams, collaboration diagrams, and you will be able to model and class object. You can able to differentiate which is valid class, which is invalid class, and the key parameters of any particular class, the necessary variables and constraints of any class and object. That you can able to easily identify after studying this course. So the fourth course outcome is focus on the fundamentals of modeling a software project using UML. So you can able to model any software component using UML tools. And the fifth one is apply software design and development techniques. So here we are going to study all the software design techniques and development techniques. So you can able to design the software as well as you can able to identify the appropriate development technique. Say while developing the project, you can use any technique. So it may be an object-oriented method you can follow, or you can go for web-based application, or you can go for scientific methods, or you can go for just interactive user interactive sessions, interactive web pages, or it may be an it may be an Q and A kind of projects, or just an assistant tool, or it may be an Android app. So we can make use of different software techniques. So we have first generation techniques, second generation development methods. Like that, we have so many methods and techniques. You will be able to design the software as well as you can able to identify the appropriate implementation method for the particular project. And the sixth course outcome is analyze and apply project management techniques for any given case study. So any problem is given to you, you can able to analyze the problem, you can able to apply the project management techniques to that problem for the given case study. Say for example, you are given a project, for the given scenario, please analyze the various components, classes and objects of the given problem and design an web page. So that also you can able to do. Or if they are asking, instead of web page, they are asking you create an Android app for the given problem, for the given specification. So any problem or any case study is given to you, that you can able to analyze and you can apply the project management techniques on the particular problem, and you can come out with the solution. So these are the 6 course outcomes of our software engineering and testing course. How the course program outcomes, we know very well, we have 12 program outcomes, PO1, PO2, PO3, up to PO12. and we have some specific program specific outcomes also. And for our course, we have 6 course outcomes. How these 6 course outcomes can be mapped with the program outcomes. So if you take the program outcomes, these are the program outcomes. These program outcomes are common to all the programs. Common to all the programs in the sense, all the engineering programs should have the following program outcomes. Program means our program. What is our program? Our program is engineering program. Your specialization is computer science and engineering. These program outcomes are common to all the specializations. Say even the students, those who are studying aerospace, mechanical, civil, mechatronics, software, triple ECE, production engineering, or in instrumentation engineering, whatever may be the engineering course they are studying, they all belongs to the same program called engineering program or BTech program. So your program is BTech program. All the BTech program and the all specialization courses in the BTech program should attain any student who is studying the BTech course. After they complete the BTech course, they will be they are capable of implementing all the following 12 program outcomes. So we have the program, our first program outcome for any BTech course is they should have the engineering knowledge. They should have the engineering knowledge of all the engineering aspects, like all the courses, specialization courses, they are studying common subjects like mathematics, science, engineering fundamentals, and engineering specialization course, and solution of complex engineering problems. So in the engineering specialization only, computer science students will be studying the computer science subjects. Civil engineering students will study the civil engineering subjects. But all the civil, mechanical, ECE, EEE, all students will be having some common Max 1, Max 2, Max 3, Max 4, like that. Some science courses, some elective courses, common electives, department electives, open electives, like that. They are all studying some common subjects. Out of I think you students will be studying around 57 or 61 courses, and based on your credits. Out of 61 courses, you will be studying around 15 courses of 5 courses of mathematics, some 3 or 4 courses of common science and physics, chemistry, like that, and some common engineering fundamental course like ED, civil basic mechanical engineering, and environmental engineering. So like that, ethics program, uh, programs, like that, some common subjects you will be studying. So the first program outcome of BTech course is engineering knowledge. Same way, second one is problem analysis. Whatever may be the problem, you will be able to identify, formulate, review, do the literature review, and analyze the complex engineering problems. So that is our second program outcome. Third program outcome is design development of solution. For any given problem, you can able to design and develop the solution in your based on your specialization. And the fourth one is conduct investigation of complex problems. Whatever may be the complex problem given to you, you can able to find out with you can come out with some solution. And the fifth program outcome is modern tools usage. So you will be having some projects and practical sessions, hands-on training and labs, so that you can you can able to, you will be learning how to use the modern tools and languages. The same way, the sixth one is the engineer and society. So whatever may be the specialization course you are doing, you are engineers, and you will have some responsibility on the society. You will be doing some service to the society in the form of health, safety, legal and cultural issues. So you are capable of solving any issues as an engineer to the society. And the seventh program outcome is environment and sustainability. So you will be having the knowledge about the environment, how to maintain the sustainability, or how to survive, or how to maintain the environment as it is. So those concepts, so those knowledge you will be gaining. And the eighth program outcome is ethics. So as an engineer, you will do only moral things. You will not do any immoral activities, and you will be useful to the society. You are responsible, you will act as a responsible citizen of the society. So you will not go with unethical aspects. And the ninth programming outcome is individual and teamwork. Because you will be, while doing the course itself, you will do so many labs and so many projects, and you will be in so many teams and clubs, so that you will automatically get done teamwork. You will be capable of doing any work along with the team, and you will be having your individual skills. So the ninth program outcome is so developing the individual and teamwork capabilities within the engineering students. 10th program outcome is communication. Your communication will automatically improve. You will be knowing how to present papers, or how to communicate with people, how to communicate with the peer students, classmates. So you will be learning different languages. So your communication capabilities, how to communicate with the boss, how to communicate with the subordinates, all the aspects you will be learning. And the 11th program outcome is program management and finance. So if you are given a project to do, you will be knowing how to make use of the project. Say you are given a project of 6 months, and you are given around 20,000 rupees to implement that small project. You will be knowing how to make use of the money to implement the project. How much I can spend for purchasing the equipments, how much I can spend for getting the software, how I can spend the money for getting the stationaries, printer, scanner, and other multimedia cards and other required equipments. So you will be getting an idea how to manage the project and how to finance the project. And the 12th program outcome is lifelong learning. So while doing the engineering course itself, you will become an independent learner. You can, if the faculty or the if a faculty or the project coordinator is giving you some project, you can able to refer the you can able to read the reference books, and you can able to collect the information required for the project. And the learning activities, learning component will be independent learning process will be initiated in your during your college study. So that not only you will be studying the courses and course subjects, you will be reading other magazines, journals, newspapers. You will come to know how to read papers and other things. So these are the 12 program outcomes. So how these program outcomes are implemented. So we will take this course matrix or course outcome program outcome matrix is made in such a way that we are taking all the program outcomes what we discussed now, and our course in our course, what are the course objectives we have planned. These are the 6 course outcomes, and these are the program outcomes. So the 6 course outcomes are achieved through the program outcomes. Say while studying the first course outcome CO1, our first course outcome is understand the basic concept of object-oriented software engineering and comprehend software development life cycle. So that particular course outcome is mapping with the first one, engineering skills, the second one, third one, fourth one, ethical aspects. So while studying this concept itself, you can able to analyze, design, implement those engineering program outcomes. The same way, the second course outcome is mapping with the PO1, PO2, PO3 in the high level, and medium level with the PO6 and PO8 and PO12. And the same program course outcome is mapping with the remaining PO9 and PO10 also in the limited level, medium, high, medium, and low level. So all our course outcomes are mapped with the program outcomes. So the course outcomes are designed in such a way that that will meet your program outcomes. And if you take the syllabus, so in our syllabus we have 5 modules, as I already said. So this is our 5 modules. So first module is introduction to object-oriented software engineering and software requirements engineering. Second module is unified modeling language and use case modeling. Third one is use case design and case diagrams. Fourth one, software design and architecture. Fifth one, software testing. So for module 1, you will be given 12 hours of time. So while studying this module 1, your course outcomes 1, 2, 3 and will be attained. The corresponding program outcomes like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 12 will be attained by studying the unit 1 itself. In unit 2, you will be given 9 sessions, 9 classes, and the course outcomes are the 4th course outcome will be attained, and the program outcomes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 will be attained. For module 3, we have 8 sessions or 8 hours. The 5th program outcome is attained, and the programming program specific outcomes also attained. And the fourth module will be having 8 hours. Fifth module will have 8 hours. The corresponding course outcomes will be attained. So if you take the module 1, it is introduction to object oriented software engineering and requirement engineering. Yeah. Sheshu, you like to say anything? Yeah, if you take we have another 5 minutes of time. If you take the syllabus, the module 1 will be given 12 hours time. In that 4 hours, we will be making 2 hours, we will have some bridge course. 1 hour, 2 hours, we will discuss about the syllabus and program outcomes, course outcomes, and we'll have some introduction concepts. And if you unit, we have the following topics like nature of software, types of software, software engineering project, what is software engineering project, and the software engineering activities, what are the activities we need to do, and the software quality parameters, introduction to object orientation, then software process models. We'll discuss about the various models like waterfall model, optimistic model, phased raised model, spiral model, evolutionary model, concurrent engineering model, domain analysis model, and problem definition and scope we will study. Then we will study about the requirements definition, what is requirement of any software project, and the types of requirements like functional requirements and non-functional requirements, major categories, and techniques for gathering and analyzing the requirements. What are the techniques we can make use to collect the required information for our project, like conducting the personal interviews or referring the manuals or getting the information from the higher authorities or referring the journals and the magazines or conducting surveys or questionnaires to collect the required information. And the requirements documents. Once the requirements are collected, how to maintain the documents related with the software requirement documents. Review process, mapping, change in the requirement. So once the requirements are identified, how we can make the changes in the given requirements specification of our project. So here we'll have 12 hours. We are attaining the COs and POs in module 1 also. So if you take the module 2, our module 2 is unified modeling language and use case modeling. So here we have 9 hours. Here we will study about introduction to unified modeling language, modeling concepts, types of unified modeling language diagrams, the various diagrams, example, use case diagram, characteristics of users, developing use cases, and model systems, use case diagrams, use case descriptions, basics of use case, user interface design, and usability principles, user interfaces. If you take UML diagrams, we have more than 12 types of diagrams like class diagrams, object diagrams, sequence diagram, collaboration diagram, and state chart diagram, scenarios, templates, stereotypes. Like that, we have more than 12 types of UML diagrams. But here, because it is a fundamental course of software engineering, I think again you will be studying some advanced software engineering courses also. So they are restricting you with we will be studying all types of diagrams, but they are restricting you to study develop only use case models and use case diagrams. So we have other diagrams like class diagram, object diagram, sequence diagram, state chart diagram, collaboration diagram, but those things we are not focusing on. But here we are focusing only on use case diagrams. They are very simple. And so here we are attaining the course outcome 4 and program outcomes. If you take the module 3, it's titled class design and class diagrams. So here only we are studying the class diagram in detail. So the essentials of UML class diagrams, how to design what are the variables and functions we are taking into the class, what is valid class, invalid class, all those things. Then associations and multiplicity, how to apply association and multiplicity. Association means whether the class is a superclass or subclass, base class or derived class. And multiplicity, how many times, what is the relationship, one-to-one relationship, one to many, many to many, n to n. So like that, multiplicity, how the one class is associated with another class, how many times. So that is called multiplicity. And other relationships. So other relationships in a class diagram means whether it is the variables or whether the class is friend class or super class or base class or virtual class or constructor class, whether the particular class is a friend with another class or it is a parent-child relationship. So those kind of relationships will be represented. And generalization, instance diagrams. Generalization means grouping the classes into a common general category. And instance diagrams means once you create an object from the class, you will get object class, object diagrams. So that is called instance diagrams. And advanced features of class diagrams. So in the classes itself, we can have public, private, and protected. We can have, we can create instances, or we can create multiplicities. We can make it as a superclass or a base class. So those advanced features, or we can go for templates or generalized classes, array of classes. So those things also, how we can represent those concepts in UML diagrams. Then interaction and behavioral diagrams. So interaction means how one class is interacting with another class and how the classes are behaving during the runtime. So those concepts can be represented using interaction and behavioral diagrams. Then we will studying interaction diagrams, state diagrams, activity diagrams, component and deployment diagrams. So while performing any activity, addition or deletion or a transaction, how the diagram, how the functions will work, how the class will act. So those functional behaviors can be represented using activity diagrams. So here we are having 8 hours. We are attaining course outcome 5. And the 4th module is software design and architecture. Here we will study the process of design, principle leading to good design. So what are the good practices we need to follow to create an universal project, and what are the good design practices we need to follow, techniques for making good design decisions. So we'll call it as DD, good decision, design decisions, good design document. DD means design document, and pattern introduction, how to create patterns or protocols, design pattern. So we have separate topic called design pattern, called how to represent abstraction, concurrence pattern, general hierarchical pattern, play role patterns, singleton patterns, observer patterns, delegation patterns, adapter patterns, immutable patterns, read-only interface patterns, the proxy patterns, software architecture, contents and architectural models we'll be studying. So in software architectural models, we'll be studying architectural patterns, multi-layer, client-server broker models, transaction processing models, pipe and filter models, MVC architectural patterns. So we will study the architectural patterns. Architectural models, we will study the different, I think you might have studied already computer architecture. So architecture means what? We'll put a rectangle box. So we'll put all the components belongs to the particular box. So the architectural design is very simple design. We'll use rectangle boxes or square boxes, and to represent each and every component. So within the architectural model itself, we have patterns, we have multi-layer architectural models, client-server architectural models, broker models, transaction processing models, pipe and filter models, and MVC architectural models. So we have 8 hours for this particular module. We are attaining the course outcomes of course outcomes 5 and course outcome 6, and the following program outcomes are attained. And if you take the last module in our syllabus, module 5, so it is called software testing. Once here we are discussing analysis, design. Then we are not going to do any implementation, only analysis and design. Then we will go to the testing part. Implementation is dealing with coding, writing the actual code. So analysis means writing the algorithm. Design means creating the diagrammatic representation of your projects. Then we are going to testing. Only design part only here we are studying. Only theoretical aspects, not actual programming logic or programs. So here in the testing, we have 8 hours, and we are attaining the course outcomes of course outcome 5 and 6 and program outcomes. And here, what are the topics we are going to study means overview of testing. What is testing? Testing concepts and testing activities, the various strategies followed in testing, and the various types of testing like unit testing, integration testing, functional testing, structural testing, class-based testing strategies, Then use case scenario based testing strategies, regression techniques, and performance testing, system testing, acceptance testing, installation testing, object oriented test design issues, case designs, quality assurance aspects, and root cause analysis, post-mortem analysis. So only in the fifth module, we are going to discuss about the testing, how to do the testing of your project using manual as well as automated tools, and the various what is testing, what are the types, and what are the various aspects, quality assurance and root cause analysis. What is the root cause for any particular problem or issue, or we will call it as bugs. So those theoretical aspects using some real-time scenario we are going to discuss in module 5. So any doubt in the 5 modules? Students, are you there? Any doubt in the syllabus?
No, ma'am, no doubts.
Doubt.
Yeah. So in today's class, in this session, so far we discussed what is our subject, what are the modules we have, what is our program outcomes, what is our course outcome, and how this program outcomes are mapped with the course outcomes, and what are the actual program outcomes. All those things we discussed. If you take the only one part, one more thing is the textbook for our syllabus is for our course is first we have 2 textbook. It means that the syllabus is framed by referring the given textbook. The topics are taken from the textbook. So that will give you the actual concepts of your syllabus. The first textbook is Object-Oriented Software Engineering, Practical Software Development using UML and Java. The author is 2 authors are there, Robert and Langeri, and the publisher is McGraw-Hill Publication. The second textbook is Object-Oriented Software Engineering using UML, Patterns and Java. The 2 authors are there, and it is in second edition. The syllabus is taken from the second edition of the book, and the publisher is Pearson Education Asia. So these are your 2 textbook, and we have 2 reference books, 3 reference books. First one is the standard book. We will call it as Bible of Software Engineering. So the Software Engineering, a Practitioner's Approach by Roger S. Pressman. He is the author he is the first author, and that particular book will give you a broad area, broad knowledge about your software engineering concepts, techniques, methods, models, methodologies, everything you can found. It's having more than 20 chapters. Even the advanced software engineering concepts also available in the latest editions. So this is the standard book, Software Engineering, a Practitioner's Approach by Roger S. Pressman. The second reference book is A Practical Guide to Testing Object-Oriented Software by John and David. It's published by Addison Valley Professional Publishers. The third textbook is Software Engineering by Agarwal. It's New Age Publications. Published edition is 2008 edition. So these 3 books also reference books. These books also will give you an idea about the various additional aspects of software engineering. And we already discussed the program outcomes. Program means a BTech program. All the BTech programs like aerospace, civil, mechanical, EEE, production, instrumentation, merchantonics, all the programs, not only our university, any university, Vishweshwara University or BITS Pilani or Anna University or JNTU University, the program outcomes are common to all the programs which are accredited to AICTE or UGC, or it may be accredited to ABERT or anything. So any engineering program offered by any organization should the syllabus and the content and the classes should be taught in such a way that the graduates of any BTech program should have the knowledge of all the 12 aspects. Any engineering graduate will come out with a degree. They will be knowing about all the 12 program outcomes. So the program outcomes are attained through each and every course. So in our course Software Engineering also all the 12 program outcomes are attained from different chapters. So you will be getting the communication programming outcome skill while studying the chapter 5, because to test your project you will be communicating with the end users, you will be communicating with the project guide, or you will be communicating with the actual users of the project, or while collecting the requirements analysis, you will be collecting the information from various people, the organization, friends, colleagues. So your communication skill will be improved through the course outcome. So these are the program outcomes, and the target of this particular course is the target set for the session or semester is if the 60% of students scoring 60 greater than or equal to 60% of marks means the target will be 3. If 60% of students are getting more than 50% of marks, the target attained will be 2, and 40% of the students scoring 60% means target what we set will be attained 1%. And if you take the for the current semester, we are putting the target as we are aiming 65% of the students should score more than 65% of mark. If it is attained, we are reaching the getting the target of 3 maximum. If only 60% students get more than 65% of marks, will be getting only 2%. So it is for our accreditation and quality purpose. And the assessment will be done. The 3 internal assessments will be conducted, which includes 5 marks, multiple choice questions. So the internal assessments will be based on like I will be having assignments. End of each module, we will be having one assignment, which will be of type multiple choice questions. You will be given 10 questions, each carries 5.5 marks. 5 marks will be given. And if you are conducting 6 or 5 assignments, or 3 assignments or 4 assignments, we will take the maximum mark of as your assignment mark. The average of test to 2 is taken and will be scaled to 30 marks. Semester end examination is conducted for, usually we'll conduct the SEE semester end exam for 70 marks. It may be a descriptive type based on the lockdown. And to pass in the course, as per the regulations of university, students shall secure maximum 40 marks, including IA and SEE together, provided SEE marks should be minimum 28. If you get 28 marks in SEE, then only you will be passing the course. And your internal marks is 30 marks. Direct assessment, direct assessment is 80%, and indirect assessment is 20%. Internal assessment will be having MCQs for 30%, and semester end exam is 70%, and course exit survey we will conduct separate. So your internal assessment is 30 marks, semester end exam is 70 marks, total together 30 marks. This internal assessment is based on 2 or 3 or 4 quiz assignments, and based on assignment attendance, as well as OET 1, open-ended test 1, OET open-ended test 2. So in that way, we will get the marks for attendance, quizzes, assignments, all those things. And SEE will be conducted for 70 marks. So this is your 100%, 30 plus 70. So far we discussed learning outcomes were set from the faculty perspective. Learning outcomes were set from the students' perspective also. The COPO mapping also we discussed, and the target was set for the current academic year for the course database system. Assessment process was discussed. So far we discussed the basic aspects, what is software engineering, what are the things we are going to discuss in our course, the basic idea about COPO, syllabus, and the internal assessment process, semester end examination pattern, all those things we discussed. This material I already uploaded in the Google Classroom. I shared with you the Google Classroom code. Through that you can join using Jain University email ID, because the class Google class is created in Jain University email ID of mine. So you can able to join in the Google Classroom through Jain email ID only. So you join the Google Classroom using your personal Jain University email ID. There I already uploaded the syllabus. This unit 1 module 1 PPTs, module 1 part 1 PPT, module 1 part 2 PPT, part 2 as well as part 3 PPT, syllabus, course specification, everything. And I already shared a copy of syllabus and module 1 PPT to your personal emails also. Okay, you just go through it. Again, we have another class from 2 to 3. Okay, there we will have again the basic concepts, some bridge course aspects of what is software engineering. Only basic concepts only we are going to discuss again today um, in 2 to 3 class. Please try to join in that class also. Okay, are you able to follow me? What I understood, what I said?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you just go through the basic things. If you have any doubt, you can ask me in the next class. After clarifying your doubts, we will enter into the basic concepts. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So if you cannot able to understand what I am telling, what I am explaining, if you cannot able to follow my teaching, or if you have any doubt, or if you have any problem, network issue or anything, you please send me WhatsApp message, or you can mail me to my email ID also. Yeah, just one word or two word is enough. I have network issue, I cannot able to attend the class today, or I cannot able to understand your teaching or methods or whatever you are telling. Please, your speed or you are very slow, you are not, please explain a particular concept more. So whatever problem you are facing in my class, please tell it to me itself. I will try to rectify myself. Okay, and if you need any more additional material or any extra questions, or you want practice test, or you need more explanation, more practical exams, real-time examples, so whatever thing you feel, you can tell it to me. I am free and I will not take it into I am teaching for taking the class so that you can understand the concept very well. So you can if you once you understand, you can this subject is full of theory and concepts only. Once you, if you are familiar with the keywords, concepts, methods, techniques, you can write any question or it may be a descriptive question, short answer or long answer, or it may be MCQ. Once you understood the concepts, what is what, you can able to write without reading the book also, or if you just go through the topics, the keywords itself, you can understand. The thing is, you need to understand, you should be familiar with the keywords and concepts, and all the concepts, techniques what we are going to study in software engineering is very very easy, very very simple, all theoretical aspects. No logic, no programming, no big complex diagrams, no need to make up anything. Even the definitions, definitions, methods, techniques, those also very common words, simple words. Even if you write the definitions in your own words, using your own keywords and your own terms, that will be correct answer only. So nothing, the thing is, you should understand the concept. If you understood the concept, you can write the answers on your own words. So I will accept any definition from your own words also. You no need to mug up as it is and write, reproduce the words as it is. The thing is, the logic should be there, the concept should be there in your answer. Okay. Shall we end the class now? Again, we'll have the class around 2 to 3. Okay. Please join 2 to 3 class also. We will try to finish that class within the given time. Hello. Are you able to follow me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Shall we end the class now? I think
Yes,
there
ma'am.
are.
Ma'am.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.